Going on a cruise ship is a dream vacation for many. This is until Mother Nature stirs things up, and then your dream can turn into a nightmare very quickly. We're about to see just how effective those raincoats truly are. This ship is sailing through a storm in the Southern Ocean, dealing with 20-meter swells and winds up to 80 kilometers an hour. And that definitely wasn't mentioned in the brochure. This cruise ship was going in search of the Northern Lights, but found something a lot more terrifying.
Get up and fix yourself to here. It's gonna get warm.
No amount of travel sickness pills would make this journey more bearable. How difficult is it to find a commercial plane in the middle of an ocean? This difficult. This footage was taken as this ship searched for the missing Malaysia Flight 370. When people have to start bracing the furniture, you know it's not a drill. How this ship isn't sinking is a mystery to me. I'm gonna put it down to Poseidon being involved. Well, that deck was a little dirty anyway. It needed a wash. The one thing you don't want to see when you're cruising through a rough sea, a leaking window.
My window's leaking, so.
When the Pacific Ocean hops aboard for a lift. Even the most ambitious surfer would run screaming from waves like this. Akimbo warning. As fun as it may look, we don't recommend playing chicken with the sea. The window of a cabin on the journey back from Antarctica with 40-foot waves and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And if that makes you feel queasy, consider that this continued for almost 24 hours. This was just off the coast of Norway, and we can only imagine that the crew had never wanted to see home so badly. This is the moment a French Navy ship braved a large wave during a thunderstorm to rescue the sinking vessel Modern Express. How can you spot an experienced sailor when they're as calm as this? This is what it looked like when a cruise ship on course from the UK abandoned any plans for its destination and returned to the UK.
Got it. You get it? Yeah. Fantastic.
The Queen Elizabeth makes its way to New York during an Atlantic Force 11 gale. With rolling this heavy, it's only a matter of time until something happens to those containers. An Alaskan fishing vessel almost losing its window due to waves hitting it with the force of several hundred bricks. This is why they didn't bother to install an onboard swimming pool. Just look at those big, blue, beautiful, terrifying waves. Experienced sailors are used to this kind of thing, but I think I can honestly say that I'd spend the entire journey in the fetal position. Okay, maybe we don't have a drink out on the deck after all. A ferry battling a 6-meter swell, and a random man losing the battle to stay dry. Staying afloat is one thing. Keeping the cargo on board is entirely another. Yes, it looks beautiful from this vantage point, but what you can't see is all the people losing their lunch over the side. It's either a choppy sea or he's got some very impressive psychic powers. Yeah, I think those wipers might be a little bit out of their depth. You'd have to be seriously confident in the strength of that window, wouldn't you?
Oh my God!
A wave machine created by real waves. This is the North Sea, and frankly, I'd want to be about as far south of there as possible. Rough seas and hurricane winds in the Bay of Biscay, so you might want to think twice about taking a cruise there. Not the best location for a quiet, romantic meal. Here's what it looks like being on a cruise ship with 94-mile-per-hour winds. Nice, huh? Dramatic footage of a North Sea storm while aboard the vessel Pegasus. A ship rolling 40 degrees from inside an office.
It's getting trashed as we speak. Yeah.
Okay, this just can't be good. This carrier was grounded near Gibraltar and had to just sit there and take it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, apparently people pay money for this experience. Somewhere in the Arctic, this horrifying thing is happening. Here's an NH-90 helicopter performing a rescue operation after the collision of two ships. 6 seamen were evacuated from one of the vessels, and 12 others were rescued by other means. Not a great day on the ocean waves. It almost looks like an avalanche of water. By this point in the video, I think we can all agree that seafarers don't get paid enough. Imagine if towing a car was this traumatic. both pilot, boat, and ship dealing with some very difficult weather. Combat ship USS Fort Worth makes its way across an incredibly rough sea. This is the one thing you don't want to happen on the day you decide to wear your new shoes. More intense footage of a ship hitting waves that must feel like rocks. When the waves start to look a bit like fire, you know you're not going to have a good night. Well, let's just hope the cargo isn't full of dried goods or electrical items. Fancy going to sea in winds like this? Nope, me neither. I now know that sailing on the North Atlantic Ocean during winter is not on my bucket list. A 75 to 80 knots wind in the northern Pacific, 450 miles south of the Aleutian Islands, with waves over 50 feet high. Yikes! The Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Sampson pulls alongside USS Theodore Roosevelt in some huge waves. Yeah, once again, just not a great place to stand. Manly Ferry taking on some monster waves while crossing Sydney Heads during an East Coast low. What a lovely time its passengers must have had. This footage was taken during someone's honeymoon. Probably not exactly how they thought they'd start their married life together.
We are on deck 11, and it just hit deck 11.
Why doesn't he look more panicked? Because he's a pro, that's why. Navy boat exercises in a rough sea. Personally, I prefer to exercise with a light jog.
It's dangerous, right?
This 160-meter-long bulk carrier was caught in a storm around the Cape of Good Hope, South Africa. The ship's list reached 32 degrees with a critical 40. This vessel was traveling through these horrific seas for 24 hours. Can you imagine? Is this really good fishing weather? Is it good anything weather? This is the 162-meter chemical tanker Roan Stern in a force 12 storm and 10-meter waves rounding the North Cape. Well, this just can't be good. Helicopters don't show up unless something serious has gone down. If those blue containers fall into that blue ocean, they'll never be found. landing a helicopter in bad weather can't be easy, and definitely not when your helipad is rocking about like this. If I watch any more of these, I may actually have to excuse myself for a minute. My stomach's going up and down like a roller coaster. Even close to harbor, these boats are having a hard time coping with the water. This must be what they mean by getting your sea legs. How is he not falling over? Doesn't the Southern Ocean look nice and peaceful? No, the answer is no. These are the problems you face when you buy a ship with holes in it. The beautiful but eerie sight of an icy sea. Surely there's a better place to stand, and surely that orange coat isn't doing much good. The car wash to end all car washes. Here's another man in a slightly lighter colored coat, but still standing in that same ridiculously dangerous place. If you work on these kinds of boats, do you even bother to take a shower in the morning? And yet, miraculously, due to skill or build quality, it somehow manages to stay afloat. I'm not sure which of these boats I'd prefer to be on. Oh, I know. None of them. If you don't want Akimbo to sink without a trace and end up as an abandoned wreck, then make sure you click subscribe.